Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Here is Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows: cats, utopia, celebrity siblings, American history, mythology, and States of the Union. Player 1, you're in command of the board as we continue right now. Filmmakers Joel and Ethan. Here's the correct response: Cohen. You get to pick again, Player 1. This famous transaction in 1803 doubled the territory of the U.S. Let's hear it, Player 1. Good for you.
Yeah! Woo!
Select again. The Salgir, the Chernaya, the Alma, and the Dnieper are all rivers that flow through this country. The correct response is Ukraine. You get to pick again, Player 1. This state has the highest average altitude of any state east of the Mississippi. Must be pretty mountainous. We're talking about West Virginia. Player 1, choose again. She was given a box and told not to open it. She did, releasing the world's evil, but shut it before hope could escape. It's Player 1. Yes.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1, choose again. This Asian-named cat is produced by mating Siamese and Longhairs, and then selectively breeding them. Here's the correct response: the Himalayan. Player 1, pick again. The Watergate scandal led to the resignation of this U.S. president in 1974. Okay, Player 1. Yes.
Yeah!
Select again. Let's go to the Clue Crew for this next clue.
According to Greek myth, this monster depicted here 8 people who could not answer its riddle.
Let's hear it, Player 1.
Yeah!
That is correct. Please pick again, Player 1. And here's Sarah.
This state's flag, featuring the Big Dipper, was designed by a 13-year-old Aleut boy.
Player 1. That is correct. Player 1, pick again. Music makers Branford and Winton. Here's what we were looking for: Marsalis. Select again. It's the quality of being useful, or the useful knife used to cut drywall. Player 1. That's correct. Player 1, pick again. The mass killing of cats in the 14th century helped spread this disease carried by rat fleas. Yes, Player 1? Yes. Select again. The fact that a cat can land upon its feet without injury gave rise to the myth that cats have this many lives. Let's hear it, Player 1. Good. We return to you, Player 1. Figure skaters Sarah and Emily. Here's the correct response: Hughes. You get to pick again, Player 1. Tears were shed when the Teddy Bear Museum in Naples in this state closed its doors forever in 2005. Here's the correct response: Florida. You get to pick again, Player 1. Actresses Meg and Jennifer. It's Player 1. We're talking about Tilly. We return to you, player one. Olympic competition in 1900 included this type of swimming, judged on distance and time submerged. Let's hear it, player one. Right. Player one, back to you for our next selection. In the 1760s, he and Charles Mason used milestones to mark the boundary line between Maryland and Pennsylvania. Here's the correct response. Jeremiah Dixon. We return to you, player one. It's the Daily Double. And you have the lead. How much are you going to wager, player one? Here is your clue. An adjective meaning of an elevated region, or the main type of cotton grown in the American South. Right. We return to you, player one. Some say his 12 labors were penance for killing his wife Megara and their children. Here's the response we were looking for. Hercules. Select again. With a population of about 120,000, Columbia is this state's most populous city. It's player one. That is correct. Player one, you pick again, please. The Korat breed from Thailand is usually this color of some Olympic medals. Here's what we were looking for. Silver. We return to you, player one. Reconstruction refers to the period of readjustment and rebuilding after this war. Yes, player one? That is correct. Player one, pick again. In the 1830s, some 4,000 members of this Indian tribe died during a forced march known as the Trail of Tears. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Please pick again, player one. Short-haired cats were derived from the Khafre cat, which was domesticated by this ancient civilization. Okay, player one. Is correct.
Yeah! Woo!
You get to pick again, player one. Gridiron stars Peyton and Eli. Here's the correct response. Manning. Player one, choose again. Mississippi and it have the shortest coasts on the Gulf of Mexico, only about 50 miles apiece. Yes, player one? That's not it. Here's what we wanted. Alabama. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Jupiter is the Roman equivalent of this Greek god. Player one? That's correct. Player one, pick again. This Greek sea god could cause springs to flow and create storms with a flourish of his trident. Okay, player one. That's correct. And now the $1,000 clue. The match is coming before the main boxing match. The correct response is undercard. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. Categories for the Double Jeopardy round are Science Time, Beastly Noises, Fashion, Broadway Debuts, Fill in the book title, and the 15th century. All right, if you're ready, it's Double Jeopardy time. After the hungry German shepherd gnawed on the tree, it let out a... Yes, player one? correct. Player 1, back to you. He made his debut starring opposite Natasha Richardson in Anna Christie. They were married soon after. Here's the correct response. Liam Neeson. Player 1, back to you. In food, iodine reacts with this carbohydrate, also known as amylum. If it's present, the iodine turns a bluish-black color. Here's the correct response. Starch. Player 1, pick again. Darwin defined it as preservation of favorable variations and the rejection of injurious variations. We're talking about natural selection. You again, Player 1. Below the atmosphere is this sphere, from the Greek for stone. Let's hear it, Player 1. Yes. You get to pick again, Player 1. Answer? One of the daily doubles. You are in the lead right now. You need to select your wager. Okay, here is the clue. This Portuguese prince wasn't just about exploration. He and his brother Fernando tried to conquer Tangier and failed miserably. No, sorry. We're talking about Henry the Navigator. Please pick again, Player 1. 1749, Tom Blank by Henry Fielding. Here's the correct response. Jones. Player 1, choose again. Several years before his topless bathing suits were the rage in 1964, women were buying his tube dresses. Here's the response we were looking for. Rudy Gernreich. Player 1, you pick again, please. I should never have committed a crime on the farm. I knew the pig would... Yes, Player 1? Right you are. Player 1, you pick again, please. In 1999, Susan Lucci took aim at Broadway and made her debut as the title gal in this musical. Here's the correct response. Annie, get your gun. Player 1, back to you. This Western-type tie, made with a cord and a sliding clasp, is also called a shoelace tie. Here's what we were looking for. Bolo tie. You get to pick again, Player 1. A masterpiece of illumination is the circa 1415 book Les Très Riches Heures du This Duke. Here's the correct response. The Duc de Berry. You get to pick again, Player 1. 1925, An American Blank by Theodore Dreiser. Okay, Player 1. That's not it. Here's the response we were looking for. Tragedy. Select again. 1922, The Beautiful and Blank by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The correct response is Damned. Please pick again, Player 1. Playing bridge, the donkey led the 4 of clubs, and the elephant decided to... It's Player 1. Yes.
Yeah! Woo!
Please pick again, Player 1. In 1966, this Algerian-born designer opened a series of boutiques called Rive Gauche. Here's the response we were looking for. Yves Saint Laurent. You get to pick again, Player 1. He made his debut as Katharine Hepburn's grandson in A Matter of Gravity, before flying high as Superman. We're talking about Christopher Reeve. We return to you, Player 1. Here's Sarah.
Used to date artifacts, this isotope has 6 protons and 8 neutrons in its nucleus.
Yes, Player 1? Right. Please pick again, player 1. If the species were reversed at Thanksgiving, the birds chowing down on us would be doing a lot of... It's player 1.
Yeah.
Good for you. Select again.
Yeah.
And so, the second daily double. You are in first place. What'll it be? All right, here's your clue. These pants for women came down to just below the knee and were named for their common use in bicycling. No, that's not right. Here's what we were looking for. Pedal pushers. Player 1, back to you. In 2006, in her first big project since giving birth to twins, she starred on Broadway in 3 Days of Rain. Here's the correct response. Julia Roberts. Select again. Rubbing a balloon builds up electrons that then attract this particle, from the Greek for first. Okay, player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1, choose again. In 1453, the last Byzantine emperor, the 11th of this name, died in the vain defense of his city. Here's the correct response. Constantine. Player 1, you pick again, please. In 1995, Jolie Fisher made her Broadway debut as Rizzo in this musical. It's the word. Here's the correct response. Grease. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. The day Churchill died, it was if the horse kept calling for him with a neigh and a... Player 1? That's correct. Player 1, you pick again, please. 1895, Blank the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. Here's what we wanted. Jude. Select again. On July 3rd, 1450, peasant leader Jack Cade entered this capital in triumph. By July 12th, he was dead. Let's hear it, player 1. Right.
Yeah.
Select again. A rebellion of his brothers Andrei and Boris was stopped by this ruler the third. Come on, how many Russian names are left? Here's the correct response. Ivan the Third. Player 1, choose again. 1860, The Mill on the Blank by George Eliot. Here's the correct response. Floss. And the $2,000 clue? This Spaniard opened his house in 1915 and counted the Duchess of Windsor and Princess Grace among his clients. The correct response is Cristobal Balenciaga. You will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. Final Jeopardy still to come, and here's the category. Ancient names. Please enter your wager. This is a good category. Here's the clue for you. Appropriately, the name of this dramatist comes from Greek words meaning wise and famous. What did you put as your response? And that will set you back. Here's what we wanted. Sophocles. You've come out ahead as our champion, player 1. So long.